Welcome to Praying Through the Bible, number 69, Judges 4 through 5, a prayer of milk and water. God by himself is unstoppable. God, when followed by leaders who are followed by volunteers, can accomplish and overcome anything and anyone, even when using weapons such as milk and water. Israel's history is ridiculously cyclical in the book of Judges. Sinning, suffering, supplication, and then salvation. Sounds personal, messianic, doesn't it? Israel keeps falling into traps of its own foolishness, leading to anguish, followed by prayers, with God raising up deliverers or saviors called judges. After the third judge, Ehud, dies, Israel begins the cycle of sin again. Listen to the language used, which helps us understand our need as sinners. We know that Jesus is our Redeemer, Ephesians chapter 1, verse 17. Literally, Redeemer means to buy back. Jesus is our ransom, Matthew chapter 20, verse 28. Why this analogy of money? Listen to the inspired language. The Lord sold Israel, Judges 4, verse 2. These are metaphors for atonement. Sin leads to suffering. Israel becomes oppressed for 20 years by Jabin, king of Canaan. Oh, and he has 900 iron chariots. Go back to Praying Through the Bible, number 68, Judges 1:19. What does Israel have? Well, they don't have 909 chariots. This time, when God needs a leader, he does not choose an ox goad or cattle prod wielding man among men, Judges 3:31. This time, the leader is culturally unexpected, a woman. What can a woman do against 900 chariots? Nothing, except lead to victory by giving strength to a man. In a way, Deborah is Barak's helper suitable, Genesis chapter 2, verse 18, giving him courage. In victory, this female leader and her reluctant male commander sing. Deborah's song, Judges 5, begins with, "When leaders lead in Israel, when the people volunteer, blessed be the Lord." That is God's formula for unstoppable success. A volunteer army led by God's chosen leaders. God's leaders might be unconventional, even weak by human standards. No problem. Milk and water aren't conventional weapons either. The prayer song combines God's majesty with God's methods. When you march, the earth trembled, and the skies poured rain, and the clouds poured water. The mountains melted before the Lord. The river Kishon swept them away. Judges 5, verse 4 through 5 and verse 21. What does this weather report have to do with military victory? God used water to cause muddy fields, flooding, and mudslides. What good are chariots in the mud? God had turned the greatest strength of Israel's enemy into their greatest weakness. In defeat, Sisera, the commander of Jabin's army, flees from this woman and her volunteers. Ironically, for protection from a woman, he flees to another woman. How humiliating culturally. Both Sisera and Barak seek help from women. Asking for water, Jael gives Sisera milk, chapter 4, verse 19, chapter 5, verse 25. Milk contains tryptophan and melatonin. Both induce sleepiness, which is why people sometimes drink warm milk before they go to bed. This general ends up hiding under a rug or blanket, chapter 4, verse 18. Again, how humiliating. When he falls asleep, Jael hammers a tent peg, or as I like to say, Jael hammers a nail through his head. While milk does the body good, this time it gives Sisera a deadly headache. How does God defeat this army? Leaders and volunteers. Oh, and milk and water. Here's our prayer challenge. Look for cycles in our own lives and pray that we will be honest with ourselves. We need to be willing to be leaders, volunteers, or both, relying not on our strength, but God's. If God can use milk and water, God can use us. Start praying. It has been Praying Through the Bible, number 69, Judges 4 through 5, a prayer of milk and water. This has been a blessing to you. Please subscribe, please like, and please share. And thank you very much.